of the wine merchants here at Total Wine and More. I'm so thrilled to be part of our virtual tasting series. And today I have a couple of amazing guys here who I've had the pleasure of knowing for a long time at this point. We've had some fun, broken some bread, but they bring us some amazing wines out of Napa and Sonoma. So I have Amici and Olema. They have scores 90 points and above year after year, which is no small feat. So I would like to introduce everybody to Tony Biagi and Jesse Fox. Welcome, guys.
Hey, how you doing
Thank you
today?
so much for joining me today.
Hi, everybody.
Why don't we start
Rachel.
with you guys telling us a little bit about, who you are?
Well, I'll start. I'm Tony Biagi. I'm one of the winemakers here at Amici Cellars, as well as we do at Olema as well. So, started in the wine business in 1992. Took my first internship at Dry Creek Vineyard. From there, I was able to parlay it into a job after UC Davis at Duckhorn Vineyards. Worked at Duckhorn for almost 6 years, and then I had the ability to work for Plumpjack for 10, where I really made my name for myself, crafting the Cabernets from Oakville, and then also founding Cade and helping to found Odette as well. In 2012, I started my consulting business. I have a couple different clients. One of the main ones, of course, is Amici. So started here in 15 with John and Bob and Melissa. Well, Melissa wasn't here yet, but I did know her. So, I mean, she came later. But we started together, and then in 16, I was able to finagle this guy away from Ramsgate. So this is Jesse Fox. Jesse, you tell him a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. So I started kind of right out of the gates. I went to Cornell University, did the hospitality program, and it's kind of been in hospitality since I was 18 years old. And kind of moved into cooking and more of that culinary restaurant end of things. After school, went to France, studied there a little bit, towards the wineries, some restaurants, and then basically worked in New York City. Had the opportunity to come out here to work at the French Laundry, which was an amazing thing for
I've heard a lot of good things
career.
about that place. Is it good?
Yeah,
All right, I just wanted to make sure.
small restaurant out in the Napa Valley. When he gives you a call on the phone and says, "Hey, I want to come out," you answer it and you say, "Yes, please. I have another?" And so basically came out here, just fell in love with the valley, and I had been here a number of times and worked a little bit of harvest in the Finger Lakes, and kind of the smell of harvest really got me going, and decided to take a chance, take a break from cooking, and find a job winemaking. And I had the privilege to work with some amazing wineries. Worked for Harlan Estates with a number of their different projects, Napa Valley Reserve, Promontory, and then move over to help open Ramsgate as the assistant winemaker. Was really the opportunity to kind of see a wide variety of things where I was just making Cab and Bordeaux varietals with Harlan. Ramsgate exposed me to Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, amazing vineyard sites, as well as Sonoma County as a whole. I had actually met Tony a number of years before I came here, and we had been in discussion, and when I heard that he was looking for an assistant to help him with a new project at Amici, I kind of jumped on it. We started the conversation again, and it's been fun.
It's been almost a roller coaster ride here. It's always a fun place to work, and it's been fun to just grow the wines and opportunities to make better and better wines. I mean, it's been fun. Jesse and I work together. We're a team. We have a great team here. Everything's about team efforts. It's not one person. It's a team effort here at Amici. And so we all add our 2 cents into everything, all the blends and everything. So it's fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. So it sounds like you guys are pretty new to this, right? So I'm glad we're able to talk a little bit about it. But this tasting is going to be a little bit unique because we're covering two different brands, Olema on one end and Amici on another. So can you guys let everyone know what Amici is and what Olema is and how they're related and go together?
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, I'll take the question to start with. I mean, I think the funny thing is that they're more closer than you think because of the fact that we don't look at these wines we look at them as sister and brother, not one is better or one's worse than the other. We take a great pride in crafting Olema and crafting Amici to almost equal standards, just at different price points. I mean, Jesse, why don't you take the Olema first and talk a little bit about what we're doing there?
Yeah, I think what really at every level between Amici and Olema, we're always looking to kind of punch above our weight. Great value and amazing quality wines. And Olema is no different. I mean, it's one of the more exciting brands that we have, where it's really affordable and has that reach to everyone. But in terms of quality, for us, everything is made the same way, just kind of how, or in similar ways with the focus on quality. Vineyard sourcing can be a little bit different. Olema is mostly based around the idea of Sonoma County and making a Sonoma County brand. So whether it's a Cab, Pinot, or Chard. But then we also started incorporating a few years ago Provence and the Rosé and other projects that will be coming out of France through that brand with a lot of success. And what it is, I think it's just really a great value and a brand that you can expect to be over-delivered upon.
Yeah, I mean, I think every one of the wines for Olema has been named one time or the other wine of the year, value brand of the year, and the Cabernets, of course, I think 2 years ago when Robert Parker got that accolade. So at the price point, it's very hard to do, but I enjoy making this wine. I think, you know, Cabernet is what I do and it's what I love to do. And I've learned a lot working with Jesse and working with these vineyards about how to find great value. I mean, we always say it's the money ball aspect of crafting wines. We're overturning rocks and logs, looking for the best vineyards, and maybe looking at things a little differently with a different set of lenses that people might look at quality as different, and Jesse and I might see something that other people don't. So I mean, this wine is a tremendous bang for the buck, the Olema is, and I love it, so.
Yeah, and I think Amici takes it to kind of the next level.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, my vision of Amici is really just those premier sites, those premier vineyards, delivering on what Napa Valley is about Cabernet, you know, and that's where Bob and John started with this brand, making a Napa Valley Cab and kind of bringing it back to that. And we love what Total Wine does and the support they provide for that wine. And then the reserve and single vineyard wines that we produce are really just finding those special sites that really exemplify what Napa Valley is and what Cabernet is. And it's the same with Chardonnay and Pinot. We're kind of looking for these great sites all over.
Yeah, I always bring it back to Chardonnay and Pinot. I mean, it's always Chardonnay and Pinot. That's all I ever hear from them. So it's one of those things. So I think with the Amici Cabernet, the value in there as well. I mean, you know, an average ton of Napa Valley Cabernet now is $7,200 a ton. And so that would be a $75 bottle of wine. And we're competing with that at $50. So that's our goal. And I think we actually win a lot of tastings at that price point. And that's my goal. And I think Jesse and I are incredibly proud of the wine we craft at this price point. I love it. I mean, because most of the consumers are going to pay that price for that wine, get a better wine than what it's valued at. And I think that's awesome. You know, I came up at Duckhorn, and Dan Duckhorn always believed to price the wines a little bit less than what they are truly valued at, because you'll always have a customer. So.
No, I think that's a great point right there. You know, perceived value and the quality that you're getting out of that is always important. So I know you guys like to get a little bit geeky, as we just heard a little bit about, you know, price per ton, which is a little bit different. But before we delve into all the technical aspects of it, can each of you use one word to describe the wines of Amici and Olema? You know, put on the spot. What's that one word that comes to mind?
Fantabulous. No, no, I'm joking. I think incredible value, high quality. I mean,
yeah, I think over deliver, as I used before. I think that's really what it means to me.
So,
right. I love it. So you guys must have so much fun working together. I can tell how much you get along. I've sat with you guys. I see how much you get along. So I've heard you each talk about yourselves. So let's put you on a spot. And if you had to describe the other person, how would you describe them and what their winemaking style is? So Tony, let's start with you.
I'll start with Jesse. He's mysterious. No, I'm just teasing. I mean, fastidious, huge attention to detail, but passionate. I mean, I think he really brings both sides to it. I mean, incredibly fastidious, and everything is, the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted, but there's a passion there, to understanding when to step back and understand, let Mother Nature take its course. So it's a great amalgam of both of those. So.
Yeah, and I think for Tony, yeah, for Tony, for me, is respectful. And I think, you know, it starts in the vineyard and with the wines and kind of understanding what that vineyard's going to bring us. But it's also about people. And I think one of the great things that I've learned about is his focus upon creating a great team. It's not about one person. It's about all of us. And everybody has something to bring. And I think that's it's a great way to describe him.
That's great. So let's get into the meat of it. Let's grab a glass. Everybody taste along with us.
He's a little bit entertaining. Actually, he's really entertaining.
So let's start tasting. I think everybody here is excited for that. So I have the Olema Cab right here. So Jesse, why don't you take us through this one? Talk us about it. What makes it so special?
So we kind of touched on this with Olema and the great opportunities of like turning over rocks, as Tony said. But this has been such an incredible a project to kind of go to Sonoma County and find these amazing Cabernet sites and blender sites, whether it's Malbec or a little bit of Petit Verdot or Cabernet Franc, on these beautiful hillsides, these great soils, and just produce these amazing wines that you're like, if this was in Napa, it would be 4 times the price. You know, but really we're able to, and every vintage that we make, I feel like just gets better and better and richer and sweet and dense, and kind of like this quality that we make in this wine that just really shows true to the value, but really the quality that Sonoma County really has to offer. So it's been amazing because you have almost more opportunities where Napa has been already found. You know, Sonoma, you're finding these vineyards that, you know, somebody just kind of blew off as not that great, and you get in there and you're like, no, this is a really special site. And I think that shows in the richness. And when I talk about sweet, it's like this perceived sweetness that we have on this palate with that great structure, you know, and that's what I love about these wines. But they're also very approachable, and
the tannins are always polished. I mean, that's what I love about Sonoma. It's really unctuous, rich. There's a lot of tannin, but it's really polished and approachable. They'll age really well too. I mean, this wine, we just drank the 16, it was the 15 that we cracked at the Olema. The wine is aged beautifully, and at this price point for wines to age like that, it just shows you the quality of the vineyards we're using. So.
Yeah, I love this wine. I think, you know, the structure's there, you get that fruit, it's nice and balanced. It's easy drinking, but you know, it's not too light. So it's one of my favorite wines for sure. I know we touched on, you know, the fact you guys are highly rated across the board for Olema, for Amici. Obviously, that's one of the things we love working with you guys on. So the Olema Cab for us has always been a standout. It was actually our #1 wine of the year in 2018. And that was the same year that Wine Advocate gave you guys the #1 value red. So what did you do to accomplish that? I mean, I know there's a lot of work that goes into the winemaking. It's not all magic. There's a little bit of magic behind it though.
I would say first and foremost, I mean, scores do matter. I mean, any winemaker that says scores don't matter is crazy. Of course, in the public perception, they do. But I don't think that drives what Jesse and I do. I mean, I think we really want to make rich, unctuous wines. And I think with Olema, because of where the price point is, we're always trying new techniques and looking at different things to make the wine better every year. We don't sit on our laurels. We don't say, this is great, we're never going to do this again. We keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing the limits, which is maybe a new vineyard like Rockpile, where we've dealt with over in Sonoma before, or even the vineyards you found on Moon Mountain or Sonoma Mountain that we keep using for these vineyards and connections that we're making. It's always changing, and for everywhere throughout my whole career, it's been a change. It's just, you never sit still. You're always moving forward. Now, there are some techniques that we'll always use that'll be the backbone of how we craft Olema together. But the reality of it is, you know, I always say it takes you know, great vineyards, but be a team that's willing to go to the strengths. It's everybody's rowing in the same direction. And I think that's really how we maintain quality. And of course, the vintage will change from year to year because it's what you're getting. Mother Nature gives you that. But I really think with Jesse and I, the teams we've created here at Amici, and that Bob and John and Melissa have allowed us to create, because it really does take the ownership group too to buy into what you're doing as a winemaker. If they don't believe in you, or if you don't believe in your team, you're never going to get anywhere. And I think that's one thing fun about Amici. I know you've been here. We all get along. And then from there, I think you could accomplish anything. So.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, it was funny. I was with a friend last night, and we were talking about my work, and he doesn't even work in the wine business. And it was like, there really isn't somebody I don't like working with that's part of this company. And I think that really adds to it, and kind of the mutual respect and that kind of stuff going on. But, you know, when it comes to Olema and crafting stuff, it's really about not, you know, for me, and for us, it's about, you know, not giving up on anything. You know, this is not just a $25 Cabernet. This is a Cabernet that we make from Sonoma County. And we want to do the best we possibly can, and just not settling. And I think it's like really working and working and working, where I feel like if we were at another bigger winery or something like that, there might be a lot of pressure to do a lot of other things where you just need to move on because, hey, it's not our Tocalone cab.
Yeah,
but that's not the way we look at it. Every wine has our names on it or our brand on it, and it means a lot. So it's just not settling and
Yeah,
always
no eye
striving.
rolls. I mean, if we catch anybody eye rolling when we're blending these wines, 'cause, I mean, you know, people could get caught up in the moment. We do make wonderful single vineyard wines too. You know, we can talk about another time, and you've been able to have them. But the reality is, when we're doing blending sessions, if one of the guys in the cellar rolls his eyes, oh, it's Olema today, you know, we're going to have a long talk with them. This is just as important to me and Jesse as our single vineyard wines. Maybe even more so, because this touches so many consumers in Total Wine, and it's such a driver for Total Wine too. This has to be a great wine every year. It can't miss. You know, and that's what we have to tell our team. And so a lot of people get caught up in the moment of Napa Valley sort of hoity-toityness. And hey, look, I do too, and so does Jesse. We all have. But the reality is, Olema has to go. You know, and I'm just as proud as Olema. Maybe I'm even more proud that the success that we've had with this wine, both with Total and with critics, more so than even the Missouri Hopper getting 99 points or something else like that. I mean, I'm really proud of this wine.
I 100% agree. I think, you know, this is about reach, and this is about touching people. And the reason why I got into the wine business is I love sharing wine, and to be able to share, you know, with so many things at a price point that's reasonable. You know, I mean, none of us are drinking $200 bottles every single night, and I feel proud. I'm very proud of the work we do as a team to kind of create these wines that can reach so many people at that price.
Yeah, I love to hear that. And I mean, you guys touch on all the small things you do. I mean, you even updated the label, just little bits of touching to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward, not just with wine, but making sure that the packaging is there. I think it looks amazing. I love that new label that just came out. So the next step, we're going to move on to the next wine. It's the Amici Napa Valley Cab. Tony, tell us about it.
All right, it's a red wine. No, I'm teasing. Hold on a second. Let me get Jesse a glass.
Don't forget me, sir.
Sorry.
He always forgets me with pouring wine.
So, you know, again, this is, for me, when I started in the business at Duckhorn, you know, the whole concept of single vineyard wines was very new. You know, you could buy fruit, you know, from spot. I mean, Duckhorn's Cabernets from in the mid-90s and stuff were Spotswood Vineyard, Scarecrow. All your names you hear now that are single vineyard or estate-driven wines on your shelf or everybody's shelf were actually going into that Napa Valley wine. And so we've kind of taken it back. What's old is new again. You know, this is a wine where Jesse and I are able to go out and buy different vineyards and look for different aspects of making this great blended Napa Valley Cabernet from Calistoga to Carneros is where we're looking, all throughout this Napa Valley. And so this really reminds me of when I started in the business. These wines, you know, Duckhorn, we would get True Chard, you know, Merlot from Carneros, or we would get Cabernet out of Calistoga. It was just this blend, and we would then start blending these wines together to craft the best wine possible. And I think, you know, given any vintages that we've just, again, this wine's always been moving forward, and I think we're really starting to hit a home run. I always say it takes 2 to 3 years to really understand what you're trying to craft when you come into a new project. And so just now, with Jesse and I being at that point, we really understand where we want to drive Napa Valley Cabernet to. And I think, you know, the last couple of years have really driven it to the next level. So,
yeah.
Jesse, go ahead.
No, this has been an exciting project to be a part of, and I think working with Tony and his background with Duckhorn and kind of what he just spoke about, this idea of creating like a blend that really exemplifies the Napa Valley and Cabernet, I think that's what's been really special about that wine. You know, I spent 7 years with Harlan Properties making kind of blends and different things like that. Then went over to Ramsgate, did all single vineyard. I think I was doing 36 different bottlings. And coming back to this idea, it really is about changing your focus from a winemaker to being like, am I making a wine like they do in Burgundy, where it's from one specific row and one specific vineyard, or am I making a wine that really is a blend of everything? And you have to look at things differently. And this wine was that. I mean, I think 16, our first vintage together, really taught me that, and really made me proud, because you're not looking at every single lot as an individual lot. You're like, how does this lot fit into the blend as a whole? And getting it come together, you know, making a blend that reaches so many people and at an affordable price point for the Napa Valley, I think is something that I was really proud of, and one of my favorite wines I've ever made.
I mean, we throw this into blind tastings of $90, $100 bottles of wine all the time, and it wins or it comes in second or third. I mean, I always say when crafting wines, I mean, I don't need to win. I want to be on the playing field. So if I throw this wine into an $80 flight or $90 flight of wines, if we're not in last and we're not in first, but we're second or third, then we've won. We're already half the price of these wines. I mean, I want to compete, because everybody has different palates. Everybody likes what they like. But if if a group of 10 or 15 tasters can say, okay, yeah, we're in the middle of the pack at $50, and half the wines in there are $100, then I think it speaks for itself. And I know Bob used to do that in the stores with you guys. Used to pull a couple bottles off the shelf. Let's try these side by side. You tell me what you think. And it was always pretty eye-opening. And that's what's really fun about this wine. So, you know, and we do a lot of work on these wines to make them great, and I love it. I mean, this is fun for me. You know, I do some other work at other places, but this is the only wine I get to be able to do this through of all the people I work for, and it's the most exciting for me to be able to go pick and choose vineyards I've always wanted to work with. So,
that's great. So the first wine we tasted was the Olema Cab. Now we've tasted the Amici Cab. So you mentioned they were kind of like sisters. So how would you say that the Amici Cab is different than what the Olema Cab is?
Well, I think just the difference between Napa and Sonoma. Sonoma is a little bit more, you know, Sonoma's colder climate, so you have a very different flavor profile. But when I say they're sisters, that we don't let either one of them, you know, we love them both. I mean, always the joke is, you know, you have 3 kids, you know, which one do you love most? And most people say I love them all until that one person tells you, oh, no, I love that one better. You know, that always happens, you know. But the reality is we love each wine, it's, you know, the same. But I just think Olema is an expression of Sonoma, and Amici is an expression of Napa. So you're going to get more red fruits in the Olema, a little more, maybe more herb de Provence, very rich chocolate aspects to it, where the Amici is pure power of Napa Valley. A little bit warmer over here, so we get more black fruits, dark red fruits, the black fruits, unctuous tannin structure. You know, with Sonoma, it is cooler, so we actually have to be very careful with tannin management there. We can make too tannic of a wine from Sonoma, so you got to be very careful there. You know, the daytime temperatures are the same in Sonoma, but the nighttime temperatures are cooler, so there's more tannin. So you have to be careful of that. And Jesse and I are very meticulous in our tannin management of the Olema. But both wines we spend an incredible amount of time on. So I think you just really, the Amici is a snapshot of the terroir of Napa Valley, whereas Olema is a snapshot of the terroirs of Sonoma. So.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree so much with that. I think I definitely find more of that red fruit and that sweetness in the Olema wines, that kind of great balance, but kind of maybe a little bit more of that medium-bodied Cabernet, as opposed to when I think of Napa, I think of more of that full-bodied. So same way that Tony described it, you know, milk chocolate kind of qualities to Olema, whereas like dark chocolate, powdered cocoa, those kind of things, those intense tannins, the tannins get a little bit broader, they get a little more structured. It has that same sweetness, but there's an intensity to it, and there's more like density to it in the Napa Valley, and then you lean more towards those black fruit qualities with it. But you know, these are both kind of made to be drank young, to be enjoyed young.
5 to 7 years easy.
Age well. I mean, we don't skip anything on these wines, and we're not adding anything except
Well, it
grapes,
is kind of funny,
you know?
thinking about it now. You asked that question. I mean, they are truly a snapshot of the appellations of Sonoma County and of Napa Valley. I mean, you know, we do touch almost every appellation in Sonoma on this wine, whether it be Dry Creek or Moon Mountain or Sonoma Mountain. What else? Alexander Valley.
Yeah.
You know, so we touch as, whereas Napa, we have, you know, Carneros through Calistoga, St. Helena, Rutherford. So you're seeing both of those. So there really are an amalgam of the appellations within Sonoma County and Napa.
I love that. I also love the fact that you described it in terms of wine and chocolate, 2 of my favorite things to go together. So thanks for that one. But so Tony, you know, you've consulted. Go ahead.
Rumor. Yeah, well, Jesse said people like chocolate. That's a rumor I heard.
I was going to say you've consulted for various wineries. You've had quite a resume. You've worked with some amazing Napa guys. So really, what was the deciding factor to come over and work with the amazing team at Amici?
It's first and foremost, it was Bob and John. I mean, you know, Bob Shepard and John Harris, the owners, were so welcoming and fun and friendly. Their whole idea, and you know, again, I think it's what people don't understand. I mean, it's very easy to buy a winery and then just go to French Laundry and eat every Friday and say I'm a proprietor. What John and Bob do, and Melissa now as well, they're on the road all the time selling the wine. They put their money where their mouth is, and then they're in the stores. They're touching people. They're touching consumers, and that's what you want to buy into. When you see ownership doing that, then you're like, I can do this, because they get it. They understand that in the end, that's what it is. It's everybody's working. Again, everybody's aligned and trying to drive the bus forward. Whereas next thing you know, you're getting yelled at by your owner because your wine's not on the shelf at Bouchon. Well, that's, you know, again, I'm sorry, I can't control that. But they're on the floor, they're shaking hands, they're touching wine, they're touching consumers. And I think from there, that's what really empowered me to go, yeah, okay, let's do this. Because I do work with a lot of estate-driven wineries, and we are a negotiator, we do buy our fruit and so forth. So if we're gonna do that, I want an ownership group that's gonna support on the road and working hard. And we welcome you guys into the winery with our boot camps with Total and so forth. We are just understanding of how to run that. So Jesse, what do you think? Squirrels dropping nuts on us.
I agree. I think it was the most important thing. I say I agree a lot. I guess that's a good thing, right?
If you didn't agree, we would have problems.
Yeah, then we might not be sitting this close to each other. But I think what's important is when I was looking for my next opportunity and kind of what next step did I want to make, you get to a point in your career where it's not all about, the prestige and the kind of, the most expensive wine or something like that you're trying to work for. To me, what was so important was working with great people and great quality vineyards. Mm-hmm. And I think I met Bob and John, and they were wonderful. And just like Tony kind of explained, they get it. And I had so much respect for them. And the opportunity to work with Tony and, kind of knowing what he's done in the past, friends that have worked with him before too, and kind of this opportunity and great fruit, I mean, they have the backbone and the willingness. Amici has the willingness to kind of go out and find those great vineyards and be open to it. So when we bring a vineyard, it's a small company. There's only a few of us. I can text John or Bob, get them on the phone really quick. We have an opportunity to be in one of the best Pinot vineyards in Russian River, and we're getting it at half the price because, we're there, and this is going to work in Olema, or this will work Russian River, or this will be that. And, we're able to kind of jump on those things. And there's that drive that kind of makes you succeed as a winemaker. Yeah. And that's what the goal is. It's like we all want to succeed. We want quality to improve. We want to just kind of constantly be striving to make it better. And a small knit company that can be nimble and move and answer questions quickly. The worst thing in the world is not a no. It's a neither yes nor no.
Yeah, I'll get back to you. That's the worst.
Yeah.
And again, we are a family. I think one thing everybody's got to remember, we're a family-owned business. And so when Jesse and I, there's 1 degree of separation from us to the owners to be able to make a decision, and we can make them quickly. And that's where we keep the quality high. If something's presented to us, we don't have to go through the rigmarole of going through levels of people to get to an answer. We can call John or Bob right away, and they'll go, yeah, man, it sounds a good idea, let's do this. That's important, being a family-run business, that in the end, they are making the decisions. It's one step removed, and that's how quality is maintained at this level. And we are a family-run business, and that's what's exciting to be in Total Wine and be a family-run business. So.
Yeah, and I mean, Total Wine's a family-run business too. So it's always fun to be able to work with people with some similarity. It's a big family, but it is still a family-owned business. And I think you guys hit it on the head. I mean, Bob, Melissa, and John are in our stores all the time. A lot of people who are probably tasting along with us today have met them. So we thank you for taking the time to get into our stores, and also welcoming our Total Wine team into the winery for boot camps, for trainings, for things like that. So thank you for being such great partners there. So when you guys are making the wines, is there a particular style that you're striving for? I know you're trying to make them approachable. You're obviously trying to get that quality for value, but is there anything else that people need to know?
I think we're trying to make wines that are approachable yet well balanced, yet at different levels are age worthy and show the quality of each different wine that we produce. My goal with style for both of these wines, for Olema and Amici, is somebody to taste it and just say, this is a really great wine. I really enjoyed drinking it. You can get as geeky as you want. You can kind of go into, I love the tannin on this. The alcohol's a little too high, the oak's a little too high. But that's like, my goal is somebody just taste it and go, wow, that's great. And I think you could hit that at every level, and it has a lot to do with balance. It
is balance. It's I look at 82 Bordeaux. I mean, we get geeky real quick. Those wines tasted great out of barrel. They tasted great young, and now they taste great now. And I think, but then they're tan and they're aging, and I think you can make both. It's just you have to be meticulous and fastidious how you make your wines, and that's really the goal for Jesse and I. Acidity matters. We have acidity in our wines. We do look at everything, and I think that's what we're crafting. We want wines that you can pop tonight, maybe with a light decant, or you can have in your cellar for 10 years and you still be rewarded.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that's a great way to look at things. So at the beginning of this, you guys mentioned a bunch of the other wines that you make for Amici and Olema. We've talked across the board, whether it's something from Provence with the rosé or some single vineyards out of Amici. So could you pick one wine in particular that you think is really fun and captivating that you guys make?
I'll let you go first, Jesse, because you're going to take the wine I'm going to take. I know you. So
It's picking your favorite kid, and so I'm gonna do a little bit something different because I know what
I know where you're going with this, but he didn't go there. Okay.
You know, it's unfair because I think there's two levels of wines that I look at. But you know, to me, what's been so much fun recently has been working with the Olema Chardonnay in terms of creating great volume and density and complexity and freshness. And this is kind of interesting because, you know, it's a $15 wine. I mean, it's pretty awesome to be able to feel that proud and to enjoy it so much. But I would say as more of that kind of like, you know, really spectacular wine that has been a joy and something new to work with since I joined Amici, and it was from the very beginning, and that was the Morasoli Cab.
See that again.
And I think the Morasoli Cab is just, it's like, you know, there's this perception of what Napa Valley Cab is, and sadly, you know, maybe 10 years ago, 20 years ago, there was this idea of just like fruit bombs and things like that. And when you taste the Morasoli Cab, you taste Cabernet. And whether you're drinking Bordeaux or whether you're drinking Napa Valley, when you taste Morasoli, what you understand is that it is that varietal. It is Cab in its essence, and it's got great structure and powdery tannins and a little bit of some herbal savoriness.
Classic Rutherford dust.
Yeah, and I think it's just this wonderful wine that has that balance, that true to varietal, that to me exemplifies what we try to do at every level for Amici and Olema.
Well, I have nothing to say. You took my wine.
Yep.
So, no, I'm teasing. Two wines. I'm going to do two wines because I can't get away with it. I think the Olema Pinot Noir for me is the best bang for your buck Pinot Noir on the market. I think that wine is stunning. I drink that wine all the time. I enjoy it. I mean, it goes down way too easy, Jesse. Thank you. Maybe 2 bottles. I might every once in a while get drunk at a night. I really do love that Pinot Noir. I think the Olema Pinot Noir to me is just stunning. And then, you know, he took my Morasoli, so that's not fair. I don't know what to say now. No, I'm teasing. The Reserve Cab I love. It's like basically the Napa Valley Cabernet on steroids. It is some declassified single vineyard wines that we do make. They're not declassified because of quality. It's declassified because we know what we can sell on the single vineyards, and you usually have to buy more barrels to make a single vineyard wine. You have to buy a little more fruit than you need. So that Reserve Cabernet at that price point is just stunning. I love that wine. Again, we put that $95 bottle of wine. Is it 95 now? I think it's 95 now. You know, I make the wine. I don't know anything about sales. So, but the reality is you throw that in a $100 flight. Throw it into a $100 flight of wine, and I think that thing would come in first or second usually. It's just a stunning bottle of wine, and I love it. I mean, I like the Morasoli too, but you know, Jesse already talked about that. So.
We can share.
So that's the one that you guys can get around the table and share together. Tony and Jesse, I really want to thank you guys for taking the time to join us today. And for our audience at home, thank you so much for taking the time to taste through these awesome wines with us. I want to invite you to check out all the Amici and Olema wines at your local Total Wine and More store, and also visit our website at totalwine.com to shop these products and also learn about our upcoming virtual tastings that we have in store. So thank you guys so much, and cheers.
Thank you. Have a great day. Thank you, everybody out there. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.